Good morning, everybody, or good afternoon, or good evening. Depends on what time of the day you're watching this. But welcome to Slowpoke Racing and the Ultimate Racing League, sponsored by Eldridge Air Conditioning. Now then, we have reached round 10, the very final race for our Sunday evening championship, and we're with the League One guys for the Mustang Madness. And yes, as I've said, this is the very last race of this season of the championship. Some of us will be glad to see the back of this car. Some will have a tear in their eye, I am sure. No, probably not. Anyway, moving on. We are in Belgium. We are at the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. Apologies if I pronounced that wrong. We will refer to it from here on in as Spa. 4.3 miles, 20 turns. Absolute fantastic course. I don't know who doesn't love Spa. I think it's enjoyed by everybody that races on it. Now, just before we get into the actual race and go down the grid, I'm just going to have a look at the points table, because it is really, really tight. And what I've done is a very crazy thing. I've wrote all the points down for the guys at the bottom, but I've not actually wrote any points for the guys at the top, which is so silly. So I'm just going to do it very quickly now, and then we know exactly where we are then. It is tight though, it is tight all the way through the grid. Let me just get these I can't believe I did this. Did the points for the guys at the bottom, but not the guys at the top. There we go, all done. So at the top of the table, as it stands, going into this race, now this doesn't consider any dropped rounds either, so there are still a couple of guys on track that haven't dropped any rounds yet. For those that don't know what the hell I'm talking about, within this series on a Sunday, what we do is we have a thing called a dropped round. So each driver will drop their worst round. So if you have a no-show one week, then obviously that's your worst round because you score no points. If you race every single week, then it will be your worst round points that get dropped. So it all evens out. It's just so that people can afford to miss a race for holidays, etc., and not get penalised too much. So, as I say, this league table I'm just about to read out doesn't take into consideration any dropped points. But at the top, at the minute, it is Wayne G leading with 291 points. Scott is just behind him on 280 points. So, Wayne's not racing today. So, I think if Scott wins, then Scott will take the championship. So, yes, all to play for Scott. Hoggy in third with 204 points. Harry Poppins in fourth. He's on 181 points. And Seamus Cash is on 173 points, sitting fifth in the table. Now then, the real battle is taking place at the bottom. So forget the guys at the top. It is the guys at the bottom that are actually fighting for survival. In 10th, and usually I do the bottom 5, but it is that close. I've had to do the bottom 6 or 7. So in 10th is myself, Slowpoke, on 120 points. Grahamid in 11th, just 2 points behind on 118. Stealth in 12th, just 2 points behind Grahamid on 116. In 13th, we've got Rufus on 115. Then we've got Hodgie in 14th on 101. Sideways George in 15th on 67. And James Stephen, who's not raced at all this season. So we don't know what happened to him. I think he's been kidnapped and taken away. But we've not had a ransom demand. Not that we'd pay it, but we've not heard anything from him, which is a real shame. So we have got Slowpoke 120, down to Hodgia on 101. So 19 points are separating 5 guys at the bottom. It is that tight. As I say, no drop points yet. I do believe Rufus may have a dropped round. So yeah, it really is all to play for in this race. So And just very quickly, apologies if you can hear the fan going. This little commentary box I'm sat in is like an oven this morning, so apologies if you can hear the fan running. So let's crack on with this one, shall we? This is the final race, round 10. We do only have 10 on the grid, which is a shame. I thought a few more might have showed up for the final race, but family commitments and things like that are preventing that. But we will crack on with 10 anyway. So let's have a look, shall we, down the grid and see where everybody has placed themselves. Now then, Scott has put himself on pole position. Ideal position for him if he wants to take this championship and just leapfrog Wayne G, who I said he's not racing. So, Scott, this is actually his 7th pole this season. It may even be 9 because there was 2 races I actually missed due to holiday. So Scott really has dominated this season, especially the old pole position. Then we've got Hoggy in 2nd, just behind him. Bloomfield is in 3rd. Kenny D. Kenny is making a guest appearance for us today. He was looking for a race. We had a space and we said, come along and join us. But you've got a race in this bucket of bolts called the Mustang. So he agreed, and here he is. Great to see Kenny D back on track again. He raced with us a season or 2 ago. Had to leave for various reasons, which we won't go into. But he's back on grid. That's the main thing. So it's always good to see Kenny D on track. Hodgie is in 5th. Now, he really does need a good finish, doesn't he? If he wants to get above the guys in front of him. He's not that far. He's only, 14 points behind Rufus, who has yet to drop a few points. He's 15 points behind Stealth. He's only 19 points behind Slowpoke. So Hodgie will be looking for a good finish today. Harry Poppins in 6. Seems to be a bit of a trait with Harry Poppins. Not a great qualifier, but a great finisher. You can always put your 50p on Harry Poppins to get his foot on the podium. Doesn't matter where he qualifies. At the minute, he's sitting 6th. Currently 4th in the table, and I'm just working it out. He's about 20-something points behind Hoggy, so he really needs to finish above Hoggy. Big ask, but if anybody can do it, Harry Poppins can. Then we've got Rufus in 7th. Rufus, again, another one that really needs to rack up some points today. He has got to drop around, which could affect his lead position. So Rufus looking for a good finish today. Then we've got Brownie in 8th. Stealth is in 9th, and Slowpoke all the way at the back in 10th. But we've got some tactics up our sleeve. Not that we're going to ram everybody off the track or anything. We've just got a strategy. We're going to stick to it, and we're going to see if we can make our way through and finish a little bit higher than 10th. So let's get the camera back to normal. Now then, as you can see, it is a bit dark out there. The headlights are on. So we're hoping it doesn't rain, but it is Belgium, it is Spa, and we do know a bit of wet stuff likes to fall, but fingers crossed it won't happen in this race. So let's get it underway, shall we? Rolling start. And myself and Stealth just starting practically on the turn, which is not great. There we go, and we run wide. So Scott leads us off then up towards La Rouge. This great big climb up through into Radion and then on to the Kemmel Straight for the first time then in this 22 lap race. And you can already see Hoggy and Bloomfield having a battle. Bloomfield looking for a way past, but he can't. He's got nowhere to go because Scott's in the way. So Bloomfield managed to get to the turn first and takes over the lead. Scott drops in behind him in 2nd with Hoggy in 3rd. So good move from Bloomfield. We'll have a look at the tyres in a minute. All compound tyres do have to be used. Well, that's the soft, mediums and the hards anyway. You don't have to use the wets unless you really want to. Or unless it rains. If it rains, then obviously any tyre rules go out the window and you just stick to your wet tyres. Hodgie still sitting in 5th then. Brownie up to 6th. Harry Poppins 7th. Stealth is 8th. Then we've got Rufus and Slowpoke at the back. So Bloomfield really is getting away as he goes through Poulon at turn 12. Trying to stretch away. He is on the soft tyres, which, well, they won't last very long. You're only looking between 6 to 8 laps. 8 laps at an absolute push if you look after them. You're really looking around about 6 or 7 laps for those soft tyres, so Bloomfield really does need to make the most of them. Scott starting on the hards, in second at the minute. As we go through Stavelot, or Stavelot, on to Blanchimont. Kenny D made his way up into third, so he's gained a place already, and pushing hard, he's pushing Scott. Kenny on the mediums. Then we've got Hoggy on the soft, so Hoggy really does need to clear the guys in front of him and try and catch up to the back of Bloomfield. And he wants to make those soft tyres work, doesn't he, as we come up to the bus stop chicane for the first time at turns 19, 20. Onto the start, finish straight and across the line to start lap 2 then, as we head down now towards La Source at turn 1. Very tight right-hander. And who's that? That's Hodgie making a move on Brownie. It's all Brownie, I think, making a move on Hodgie, more like. Hodgie started 5th and he's still in 5th. But Brownie really pushing him all the way, side by side, these two, as they head towards Rouge. And Brownie just gets his nose in front of Hodgie, because you do not want to be going too wide into that section of the track. Onto the Kemmel Straight then, heading towards Lacombe's, the first of the chicanes. And Brownie just holding on to that 5th position. He is on the soft tyres. Hodgie started on the hard, so it's only, yeah, it was expected that Brownie would get by. So Brownie now putting a bit of pressure on Kenny D, or Brownie trying to go around Kenny D there, and does get his nose in front, does he? As they're coming around Bruxelles at turn 10, and Brownie gets the job done. So Brownie really on a charge, isn't he? He's now onto the back of Hoggy, who has got a penalty of half a second. So it looks like Brownie's going to move up into third. Well, Hoggy just makes the move on Scott, but whether Scott let him through. Scott's on the hard tyres, Hoggy on the softs. Brownie's gone through as well. He's also on the soft. So the 3 soft runners so far are 1, 2 and 3. Hoggy has got that penalty to serve, so let's just stick with Brownie, shall we, to see if he can actually take that position away from Hoggy. They're just coming around turn 15 into turn 16 at Stavelot. This is where the penalty zone is, just on the exit of turn 16 before you get onto Blanchimont. And there we go, penalty served by Hoggy. And Brownie, has he got the momentum to catch up and make the move? I'm not so sure he is close enough. If we look at the top right, you can see how far Bloomfield is stretching away. But Hoggy now coming under attack from Brownie. Brownie having a look around the outside as they head towards the bus stop chicane. No doing. Hoggy manages to defend that position really well and holds on to second. Brownie in third. Then Kenny moved up to 4th. Kenny on the medium tyres. Scott on the hard. Dropping off, really. He seems to be going backwards, but he does have the softs and mediums to look forward to. So when the guys ahead of him start to pit, he may well just retake the lead. Hodgie on the hard tyres, on 6th in 6th. Harry Poppins, what's he on? He's on the hards as well. So is Rufus, so is Stealth, so is Slowpoke. So it is as you would expect. It is the guys on soft tyres out in front, the medium runners in the middle, and the hard tyres are all running at the back. As Slowpoke bringing up the rear and desperately trying to catch up to the rest of the pack. Bloomfield is just away and running, but then again he really needs to, because those tyres will run out very, very quickly. So Bloomfield putting in a good performance so far. Currently fastest man on track to 20.0, but has also picked up half a second penalty. Now then, is that going to affect his track position? No. The gap between himself and Hoggy is just too great. Just looking in the background, we just see Hoggy coming around the turn at Bruxelles there, turn 11. So there is a bit of a gap there, a nice comfortable gap between Bloomfield and Hoggy. Hoggy starting to open up a gap back to Brownie now, but Brownie trying his best to stick with him. So these guys on the soft tyres really do need to open up a decent lead. Kenny in 4th, our guest driver for the evening, on those medium tyres, having a good race. Then we've got Scott, first of the hard tyre runners. He's picked up half a second penalty. This track does like to hand them out. So Scott will be serving his penalty. It's not going to affect his track position either. Harry Poppins is just too far back, but Harry Poppins holding on to 6 at the minute. Everything off, laptop and stuff. Now then, Hodgie, let's go on board with Hodgie, shall we, as we chase in Harry Poppins. A quick look behind us, and Rufus really putting the pressure on Hodgie sticking to the back of Harry Poppins as we go through the bus stop chicane. Always looking for, oh, and Harry Poppins has dropped it. Oh, I don't believe this. Come on, get the right camera. Where is he? Let's go back and have a look at Harry Poppins. I've gone back too far, but oh, well, never mind. So Harry Poppins coming under a lot of pressure from Hodgie. You can see Rufus trying to have a bit of a look as well around the outside, but thinks better of it as they come into the bus stop. Harry Poppins gets good entry in there, exit not so great, and then gets on the power a little bit too early, and the back end says no thank you very much, sir. And around he goes, and that puts Harry Poppins all the way down at the back as Slowpoke and Stealth Rufus go through. So not a great start for Harry Poppins, but he will catch up, I am sure. Let's just go and have a look and see what is happening with Rufus and Hodgie, because Rufus really was putting the pressure on Hodgie, but I think Hodgie's managed to open up a bit of a gap now, and Rufus himself is coming under pressure from Stealth. And Stealth is coming under pressure from Slowpoke, so it is well, 3 of them racing almost 3 wide now. Let's we'll go with Slowpoke, shall we, so we can see what's happening. He's never going to go for that gap in the middle, surely. As Rufus gets into the turn first, Stealth just creeps ahead of Slowpoke. Excuse me. And Slowpoke just sitting there and decides to let Stealth and Rufus have a bit of a fight. We're on board now with Slowpoke as we're following Stealth and Rufus into turn 10 at Bruxelles. Start on down the hill now into turn 11, this left-hander. And then we've got the big sweeping left-hander at Poulon at turn 12 ahead of us. Quick look in the mirror and we can see Harry Poppins' headlights trying to catch up to the back of these guys. Rufus just managing to hold on to 7th. We can see Hodgie up ahead in 6th. Rufus getting a bit closer to him. We'll get out of there. What tyres is Rufus? Rufus on the hards as well, so let's have a look at his lap. So Rufus best lap so far is a 2:24. Hodgie also a 2:24.9, so pretty evenly matched really. Up to the top, well, Bloomfield is just streaking ahead. Hoggy, too many Hoggies and Hodges in this, isn't there? Hoggy in 2nd, and Brownie's still there. Now then, let's have a look at those tyres. And well, we're about 50% on Brownie's car, so the 2 front tyres about 50% wear. Hoggy about the same, and Bloomfield has actually used a little bit more. He's been pushing those tyres just a little bit harder. We are on lap 5, so maybe 6-7 laps on the soft tyres. We shall see. Fuel should be okay. Kenny D still sitting in 4th on the mediums. He's the only one using the medium tyres, so he's got the hards still to come. Scott in 5th, starting to find some grip now is Scott, and he's picking up the pace. His quickest lap was well, his last lap 4 was a 2:22.1, so those hard tyres now fully warmed up and starting to stick a bit more. He can start to put a bit of pressure on Kenny D and make his way up through the grid. Remember, Scott really could do with winning this race to take maximum points. To win the championship. Sorry, I was trying to sort the laptop out as well then. So Scott sitting in 5th. Hodgie having a good race in 6th at the minute. Still got Rufus chasing him down. Rufus is getting closer though, it would appear. So maybe Hodgie's just backing off a little bit. Let's have a look. His last lap, lap 4, was a 2:25. Rufus was a 2:25. But actually Hodgie was a couple of tenths quicker actually than Rufus. So maybe this is the lap where Rufus starts to push. Slowpoke in 8th, he's managed to get past Stealth. Harry Poppins definitely catching, so Stealth has obviously had a moment, hasn't he? To drop down to 10th. Harry Poppins, he's having a bit of a comeback race now, having had that spin at the exit of the bus stop on the last lap. Slowpoke up to 8th, Rufus in 7th, Hodgie 6th, then we've got Scott, Kenny D, Brownie, Hoggy and Bloomfield. So Bloomfield then through the bus stop chicane, always into the pits. So Bloomfield at the end of lap 5 has decided enough is enough with the soft tyres, so the race leader is into the pit. That allows Hoggy to go through. Now I'm pretty sure Hoggy's going to be pitting pretty soon as well. Those tyres are looking very worn, as is the case for Brownie as well, but Brownie stayed out. So Brownie moves up into 2nd, Hoggy up into the lead of this race now. Kenny D 3rd, Scott is in 4th, Hodgie 5th, Bloomfield just about reaches the pit crew now as they leap into action. Fresh set of tyres for Bloomfield. Is he going to fill the tank up? It looks like he is, but he is all the way down now in 10th, so he's going to rejoin at the back of, well, I was going to say the back of the pack, but he's not even going to be at the back of the pack. He's there is some distance, so that pit stop, that early pit stop has cost him. So he's got it all to do now. He is on some soft tyre. Another set of soft tyre? No, surely that's going to change. He can't be on softs again. No, he's out on hard tyres, so Hoggy decided to join on hard tyres. Sorry, Bloomfield has joined on hard tyres, but got some catching up to do. But then again, all the guys in front of him have yet to make a pit stop. Hoggy, our current race leader, the tyres are really looking very sorry for themselves. They're going to start to hurt him now. So Hoggy may be thinking about a pit stop at the end of this lap. Brownie in 2nd, he's got the same thoughts as well, because that front left especially, well, the front left and right, they're both looking very sorry for themselves. Kenny in 3rd, he's still got plenty of wear on his tyres, so maybe he's going to go for at least another couple of laps until the fuel runs out. Fuel wise, you should be looking around about 8-9 laps. So I'm expecting a lot of people into the pits at the end of lap 8, 7, 8, something like that. So Kenny D could end up leading this race. He is starting to gain on Brownie. Hoggy and Brownie should both be thinking about maybe making a pit stop. We'll just stick with Hoggy to see whether he does or not as we go through the bus stop chicane. No, Hoggy thinks one more lap is doable. Brownie has decided to come into the pits at the end of lap 6, so he's had enough of the soft tyres. So Brownie into the pits, that puts Kenny up into 2nd. Hoggy still leading, although he's going to start to struggle on those tyres. Kenny on the medium, still plenty of grip. Scott on the hards, he's still got plenty of grip, so he's going to go at least to the end of lap 8, I would think. Who else is into the pits? Rufus has come into the pits. Now he's on the hard tyres. This is an early stop for Rufus. I thought he would have gone a little bit further, the same as everybody else on the hard tyres, but I would have thought he'd have got another lap out of the fuel tank. But no, he's got a strategy, and I'm sure he's going to stick to it. So Rufus in the pits. Brownie, the fuel starting to go in. Bloomfield has just crossed the start-finish line and is coming up to La Source at turn 1. So can Bloomfield jump Brownie is on his way out to the pits. This is going to be very, very tight as Bloomfield comes up the hill. Now it says he's in 8th, but he's not until he passes that pit exit. Where is Brownie? There he is, and we just see Bloomfield go through. So Brownie will he's got to be careful actually, because this pit lane really does like to chuck out the penalties. So you cross that white line, you will end up with a 3-second penalty, which Brownie does not want and doesn't get, so well done to him. Rufus on his way out the pits as well, all the way down in 10th. So race leader Hoggy surely has got to be thinking about a pit stop. Kenny D in 2nd, he can just about see Hoggy, so Kenny D could be taking over as race leader. Scott still in there on the hard tyres. We are on lap 7, so a lot of these guys now will be thinking about their stop. Bit of a gap then back from Scott to Hodgie, but Hodgie doing really well at the minute. He needs the points, doesn't he? Hodgie needs a good finish, and he's currently sitting in 4th, and he's running on the hard tyres as well, so he's got the mediums and the softs to look forward to. So Hodgie having a good race on his own at the minute, under no real pressure, sitting in 4th. Then we've got Harry Poppins. He's making his way through the grid and up to 5th after his spill. Well, it was just about around here, wasn't it? I'm sure he won't be making that mistake again. And no, safely through the bus stop chicane and across the start finish line goes Harry Poppins to start lap 8. Slowpoke in 6, just ahead of Stealth. And then we've got Bloomfield in 8th after his very early stop. Brownie back out in 9th, and Rufus in 10th after making a stop as well. Brownie on the mediums, Rufus on the softs. And he's really got to use those soft tyres as well to catch up to the likes of Brownie, Bloomfield, Stealth and Slowpoke. So Rufus really got to start putting some lap times in now on those soft tyres. Fantastic shot of the flames licking out the side of those exhaust pipes when Rufus goes through the gears. Not too dark around Spa, really. I mean, you can see it's pretty black out there, but the headlights on this this Mustang really do light the track up. As Hoggy, well, I think Hoggy's having to do a bit of fuel saving, isn't he? Excuse me, I'm off again. He's coming under a lot of attack from Kenny D, and Kenny D gets in front, so Kenny D on the medium tyres, although the fuel light is flashing for him as well, so Kenny D, Hoggy are going to be coming in. In fact, I would expect most of the grid to be coming into the pits at the end of this lap as everybody starts to get the fuel light flashing on. Hodgie also, Harry Poppins, Slowpoke, Stealth. Oh no, Stealth has looked after his fuel just a little better than most of the guys. So it's just going to be everybody else now then. Let's have a look. Kenny D definitely going to have to come into the pits as he goes through Blanchimont, heading towards the bus stop chicane at turn 19 and 20 for the 8th time out of 22. Remember, they have to use all 3 compounds, so it's going to be at least 2 stops for these guys. And in we go, comes Kenny. It is going to be very, very busy in that pit lane now. So Kenny is in, Scott will come in, Hoggy will come in, he is running on fumes, but he's around there somewhere. Hodgie, he will come in as well. Harry Poppins is going to come in, Slowpoke is going to come in. Stealth, is he going to come in? The fuel light started to flash on Stealth's car, so is he going to come in? Yes, he is. So Bloomfield, who pitted very early, I think it was lap 5, wasn't it? Something like that. So Bloomfield then into the bus stop chicane could actually leapfrog a lot of people. Remember, he was the early leader and had quite a good lead as well, but made that very early pit stop which put him all the way to the back of the grid. Now in 8th, you can see the fuel starting to go into some of the cars. If you look at the table on the left hand side, you can see the fuel starting to go in as Bloomfield comes around La Source at turn 1. Back onto the power, heading towards Eau Rouge. Who is out? Brownie is out on track. Bloomfield though. Bloomfield takes the lead again. He gets out ahead of everybody else. Kenny is going to be back out in 2nd. Brownie. Oh, this is going to be very close as Brownie goes through. So Brownie does take the 2nd position, as Kenny just couldn't get out of the pits quick enough. So it is Bloomfield back up to the lead of this race. Brownie in 2nd with Kenny D in 3rd. Brownie having a fantastic race so far, isn't he? Kenny D in 3rd. Scott back out in 4th. He's on the medium tyres. Let's have a look what everybody is running. So Bloomfield on the hards leading this race. Then we've got Brownie on the mediums. Kenny on the hards. Scott on the mediums. Then we've got Hoggy also on the medium. Oh, and Hoggy has fell foul to the pit stop penalty and has got 3 seconds. Where is Rufus? Rufus is on the soft tyres, having made an early stop as well, so he's starting to wear those tyres down. Now then, he should take P5 away from Hoggy when Hoggy serves that penalty. So Rufus could move up into 5th. Remember, he could do with the decent points as well. He is down at the in the fighting zone, at the relegation zone, should I say. So Rufus could do with moving up through the grid. Then we've got Hodgie in 7th. He's now out on a set of mediums. Harry Poppins also running the mediums. So is Slowpoke, and so is Stealth with a full tank of fuel. Back up to our race leader, and again opening up quite a gap. It's Bloomfield. He's not messing about tonight, is he? Although he's going to have to stop before the rest of the guys, having made that earlier start. So fuel could be an issue for Bloomfield. He's definitely going to have to do a bit of fuel saving. Brownley's still sitting in 2nd. Then we've got Scott. Now then, Scott made his way up into 3rd, so he's managed to get the job done on Kenny. So whether Kenny's had a bit of an issue or something, I'm not so sure, but Scott has managed to get by him. Scott obviously going for the championship, so he needs a win. He needs maximum points actually to leapfrog Wayne G. But as I say, that's not taking into consideration any drop rounds. Kenny in 4th. Then Rufus, he's gone up into 5th, hasn't he, after Hoggy served that 3-second penalty. I bet he was absolutely cursing when he came out the pit lane and got told he got 3 seconds. But a bit of work ahead of him now if he wants to get that P5 back off of Rufus. Rufus will defend it for all he's worth, although Rufus is going to have to come into the pits before Hoggy does. Hodgie down in 7th, with Harry Poppins in 8th chasing, Slowpoke in 9th, and then Stealth in 10th. We'll try and find a bit of a battle, shall we? Because, excuse me. Apologies if you heard that. I did try and push the microphone away. Struggling this morning. Oh, Rufus, very, very wide out of turn 11. Now then, he might get away with that. He did cross the line, he did go over the curbs, but it looks like he's got away with it. So that'll put a smile on his face. So Rufus starting to put the lap times in now. His fastest is a 2:20.9, so he's only 9/10 off of Bloomfield's fastest lap overall. So Rufus starting to put his foot down now. Although he is also starting to plough through the tyres. Hoggy on the mediums, plenty of grip in those tyres. Let's try and find a battle. Is anybody actually racing now, or are we just so spread out? Let's go on board with Harry Poppins, shall we? Well, I suppose now is the opportunity to just go through a few things about the guys that I've found out. Now then, Harry Poppins will be leaving us. He's actually signed a contract for a team on ACC, so Harry Poppins been poached away, and he's going to be racing in ACC for a season or two. We're hoping he's going to come back, and I'm sure he will at some point, but maybe the contract was just a bit too good to refuse, so he'll be off to ACC at the end of this race. So we wish him all the best with that. Let's see who else we can just shed a little bit of light on it. Stealth running 10th at the minute. Now there's a little bit of information about Stealth. Stealth is actually our current film star. He's starred in action films, and also I think somebody said he was in The Wizard of Oz. He was one of the little people in The Wizard of Oz. I'm not so sure about that one. I didn't ask him about that one. It was just a rumour, but you know, I forgot what they call them, Munchkins or something. But he's certainly an action film star. So that's Stealth. So any film buffs out there, any directors that are looking for their next big star, well, little star, is Stealth. So give him a shout. Who else we got then? Rufus. Rufus, now then, this isn't his full-time job. His full-time job, he's actually a pubic hairstylist. So if there are any, specialises obviously in the ladies, so if there are any ladies out there that would like their nether regions styled, then give Rufus a shout. He's your man. He also likes to dye them, so apparently he makes them all sorts of different colours, and he can do the Union Jack. Is a bit of a speciality, so yeah, give Rufus a shout, see what you can do. Who else we got? Hodgie, our resident Aston Villa fan. Well, I think he is the only Aston Villa fan, isn't he? Oh no, I think Wayne G might be one as well. So there are at least 2 Aston Villa fans out there. So that's Hodgie, loves his football, loves his fishing. Very tough competitor as well on the track, and all-round good guy actually, Hodgie. It's always a pleasure to race with him on the track. Then who else we got? Let's have a look. Our soon to be, if he can, well, he's up to second now, so if he can get his nose in front, in fact, let's just think, he may even, if he finishes second, he may even leap up Wayne G with the drop rounds. But Scott used to be the Stig's stuntman, apparently, when a certain TV show was on air, and they used to have a guy called the Stig, if you remember him, racing around. Well, Scott used to be his stuntman, apparently, and Scott did all the hard stuff. Goes, hey. So that's just a couple of the guys that we know about. So let's just have a catch up, shall we, and see where they all are on track. So Bloomfield still out in front on the hard tyres, so he's having a cracking race, isn't he, Bloomfield? He's loving it out there, and I also think he's got his own YouTube channel as well. He may even be streaming this race, so just come find him if you can, and you can see it from his point of view. So that's Bloomfield, still out in front. Scott in second. He is gaining though. Scott is definitely gaining on Bloomfield. There was quite a gap actually between the two of them, but Scott is definitely gaining. He's got more fuel. Bloomfield is about a quarter of a tank now. So Scott just over half a tank, so he's got more fuel, so he can afford to do another couple of laps more than Bloomfield. So when Bloomfield comes into pit, and he will have to pit before Scott does, Scott will now take over the race, the lead of this race. Brownie having a fantastic race so far. Currently sitting in third now. I think he did make an earlier stop than most of the guys onto the media. I think he's got one more stop to go, so Brownie may even look at 3 stops. We'll have to keep an eye on that one. Kenny D in fourth. He's on the hard tyres, plenty of fuel, just over half a tank, and obviously plenty of tyre left. Our guest driver, Kenny D, used to race quite a bit actually in the Ultimate Racing League, and then he had to disappear for a bit. Nobody knows why. I think maybe he might be a secret agent or something, and he can't talk about it. He just goes off on these special missions, and then he comes back every so often. But it's great to have Kenny D back on track with us, so hopefully he'll be back for next season as well. Talking of next season, big changes come in. I don't know exactly what they are, and as soon as I know, then the rest of you will know. But apparently there are some big changes coming to the Sunday leagues. That's all I can say. I don't know any more than that. It could be another league, it could be mushing them together, it could be mixing them. I don't know, but apparently there are big changes coming, so watch this space. Back to the action then. Hoggy, well, I say action, everybody's so spread out now, there's not real much action, is there? Hoggy in 5th, Hodgie in 6th, I was going to say 7th, Hodgie in 7th, with Henry Poppins behind him in 7th, Slowpoke in 8th, Stealth in 9th, and Rufus into the pits then. Rufus has really worn those soft tyres down, and he's back out again. Well, actually, oh dear, just to add to his woes, I was just about to say, I think what happened is Rufus came into the pit and he pressed the button to say don't change tyres. He told his pit crew to not change tyres, which is a real shame. So tyres went back onto the rack, So what he's decided to do at the very last minute is not do a fuel stop either. It's almost like a drive-through. He's kept going. He's going to come in at the end of this lap to change the tyres, but in all of the confusion, he's picked up 3-second penalty as well for his trouble. So it just goes from bad to worse for Rufus, who really did need to rack up some decent points in this race today. But what an absolute disaster for Rufus. So he's got 3-second penalty to serve, and then at the end of the lap he's going to have to come in and change those tyres and fuel up. So pretty much race over then for Rufus. Back up to the top then as Bloomfield comes into the pit. Scott continues on through across the start finish to start lap 14. He is on the medium tyres, just under half a tank of fuel. So Scott is exactly where Scott needs to be, and that is out in front and leading this race. Brownie having an absolute stormer so far in second and loving it, although he is going to have to pit maybe at the end of this lap. The fuel is starting to disappear on him. Tyres don't look too bad, but I think Brownie's got to go on to the hard, so he's going to have a bit of a tough run in at the end of this race, but we shall see. Kenny in third. He's got Hoggy just behind him. Finally we got a bit of a race going on. Let's go on board, shall we, with Hoggy, as we try and chase Kenny D down. Now then, Hoggy on the medium tyres. I forgot what Kenny was on. I think he's on the hards. As we come towards turn 10 at Bruxelles, this very long hairpin right-hander, and you're going downhill slightly as well into turn 11. In fact, we won't. We're not going to do that. What we're going to do is we will do a full lap on board with our race leader Scott in a minute, as long as he doesn't pit. So Hodgie in 5th, Harry Poppins 6th, still recovering from his spin within the first 1 or 2 laps. Slowpoke up to 7th, started 10th on the grid, so strategy starting to come into play now as he moves up to 7th. Then we've got Stealth in 8th, Bloomfield in 9th, and poor old Rufus is in the pits, finally getting a tyre change and a full tank of fuel, and back out again. So Scott, let's have a look. Surely Scott is going to stay out. We'll just follow him through the bus stop chicane, and then what we'll do is we'll jump on board with Scott and we'll do a lap with him, shall we? Oh, there we go. So across the start finish line then to start lap 15 as we head towards turn 1 at La Source. This very, very sharp right hander, taking as much of the curb on the inside as possible, using all of the runoff on the left. Then it is foot down hard through Eau Rouge, heading towards Radion. This very steep climb up the hill, and then we go up through turns 3, 4 and then 5 onto the Kemmel Straight and through turn 6 just at the top of the pit exit. Now we head down towards Lacombs. Another chicane at turns 7, 8 and 9. Hard onto the brakes around just before the 50-metre board into turn 7. Then the left-hander of turn 8. Immediately into turn 9. Again using all the runoff on the left. Careful not to spin the car. Down the hill then towards Bruxelles at turn 10. The hairpin turn. Still going downhill now. Into the left-hander of turn 11, and we are still going downhill as we head towards Poulon at turn 12. A sweeping left-hander. Just get your car on the apex, let it run out, and then clip the apex again on the exit. Still downhill into Campus then at turns 13, 14 and 15. The left-hander of 14 then down the hill towards turn 15. But again using a lot of the runoff into turn 16 at Stavelot. Foot planted firmly on the noisy pedal again as we come through Blanchimont at turn 17. Then up through 18. Is he going to lift? Yes, a very, very slight lift, I think. Which takes us then down towards turn 19 at 20, affectionately known as the bus stop chicane. Through turn 20 and then up towards the start finish line. So that was a lap with our current race leader, Scott. Not the quickest lap out there at the minute. That still is owned by Bloomfield, who did that very early on actually. He got a 2:20.0, so Bloomfield currently holding on to the fastest lap. Let's have a look where Kenny is. Kenny's in second on the hard tyres. He's got Hoggy just behind him on the mediums. Hodgie sitting in fourth. Harry Poppins, he is getting closer. So Harry Poppins, Hodgie will be aware of that, but even if Harry Poppins catches up to the back of Hodgie, it is still a big ask to get by him. Hodgie is fantastic at defending his lines. So if Harry Poppins wants this, he's going to have to do it on a straight, unless Hodgie makes a mistake. In fact, we'll go on board with Harry Poppins, shall we? I love this onboard thing. We'll sit in the passenger seat and we can whisper in Harry Poppins' ear, tell him what to do as we go into the turn. So hard onto the brakes then, into Lacoons. Now then, this is where it's going to start getting tricky, because Hodgie is, as I said, very good at defending. Down to turn 10. And Harry Poppins getting closer and closer. He really would like to be stuck under the rear wing of Hodgie's cars when they get onto somewhere like Blanchimont. A nice straight run where you can get some power down. Failing that, he's going to have to wait until they go around turn 1. Unless Hodgie makes a mistake and lets Harry Poppins in. There is nobody behind us at the minute, no pressure at all, so it is just these two racing. So Hodgie just holding on as we go through towards turn 15 then. Harry Poppins playing it nice and cool at the minute. Now then, this is where he needs to get a little bit closer to Hodgie, because he's getting the power down. He can get into the slipstream. We can see this, the race leader Scott is into the pits. So Kenny could take over the lead of this race unless he's coming into the pits as well. So let's get out and have a look, shall we? So Scott's just about reaching the pit crew. Kenny has stayed out. Hoggy has come in as well. Well, he's had to. He's got no fuel. So Kenny is coming on through. He's gone through turn 1. So Kenny was now going to move up into the lead of this race. Still no fuel going into Scott's car. But Scott is in. Again, it's another flurry into the pit lane. Hoggy is in. Hodgie is in. Slowpoke is in. So it's going to be all change again. But Kenny now leading this race as Harry Poppins goes through. Harry Poppins has stayed out for one more lap. He's got the fuel light flashing, but Harry Poppins thinks he can make it to the end of this lap. So has decided to just push that a little bit more, so he's got less wear on the soft tyres when he drops onto those with his next stop. Scott back out on soft tyres for the final stint. We've got about I'm just trying to work the laps out now. 5 laps. 5 laps to go. So 5 or 6 laps to go. So Scott on the soft tyres, they should serve him well to the end of the race. He should have plenty of tyre left. Kenny D, he's definitely going to have to pit. He is on, well, hardly any fuel at all. So Kenny will definitely be coming in. Harry Poppins will also have to come in. So Scott should take over the lead of the race again. Then we've got Bloomfield on medium tyres. Now then, it's going to be very close for him to actually finish the race with the fuel he's got. but we will keep an eye on it. May have to do a bit of fuel saving towards the end of the race. Hoggy in 5th, he should be okay to the end of the race. He's out on a fresh set of soft tyres. Brownie on some hard tyres and just under 3/4 of a tank of fuel. Had a great first part of this race, didn't he, Brownie? But after the pit stops, he's now dropped down to 6th. He's got Hodgie chasing him in 7th. Hodgie on the soft tyres and just over half a tank of fuel. Slowpoke just over 3/4, also on the soft tyres, but that is some gap to make up between Hodgie and Slowpoke. You can see Kenny D is into the pits. Harry Poppins, I'm sure, will be following him, so Scott should take over. Slowpoke currently sitting in 8th, but as I say, a big gap between himself and Hodgie. But on the soft tyres, so looking to put in some decent laps now and catch up. Stealth in 9th. Now Stealth, I think, may have pitted just a lap too early. I think he was running the same strategy as Slowpoke, but he's and like most of the guys, but I think he did pit too early, so could cause problems for Stealth. And then poor old Rufus down in 10th. Well, after the luck he's had, I'm sure he'll be glad to see the back of this race and this season. An almighty mess up and confusion in the pits when he told his pit crew not to change the tyres by accident, so he's had to make a second stop, well, third stop actually. So back up to the top then as Harry Poppins and I forgot who it was now, Kenny D, there we go. Harry Poppins and Kenny D came into the pit, so Scott back up into the lead of this race, which is exactly where he needs to be to take the championship. So if he wins this, then the championship is his. He's got Bloomfield in 2nd at the minute. Kenny, having made his stop, he's back out in P3. Fresh set of soft tyres and enough fuel to take him to the end of the race, so we should see Kenny starting to put some decent lap times in now. Can he actually catch up to the back of Bloomfield? That'd be the challenge for Kenny D. He's got a foot on the podium at the minute, but I'm sure he'd like a step just a little bit higher up. Hoggy in 4th on the hard tyres. Now then, that is some ask actually to keep up and maybe even take the spot away from Kenny when you're running the hard tyres. Kenny's not going to let that happen, is he? Brownie into 5th, although he's got Hodgie all over the back of him. We'll go on board with Hodgie as we try and get the move done on Brownie, and Hodgie's decided to hang it all the way around the outside, but a bit too far, and has to ease off, otherwise the back end would have come round on him. A quick look behind, and Harry Poppins sitting there in 7th, waiting to pounce. That's cost Hodgie a couple of tenths and dropped him off the back of Brownie, so he'll be cussing and cursing, I'm sure, after that mistake. Around turn 16 then, on to Stavelot. Coming up through Blanchimont, getting back onto the power, he needs to catch up to the back of Brownie again. Hodgie on the soft tyres, Brownie on those hards. Then we've got Harry Poppins in 7th. Made his way from the back of the grid after a very early spill. I think lap 2, 3, something like that. He had a spill at the bus stop chicane and ended up all the way at the back. He's made his way up into 7th, but not really pushed his way through the grid like I thought he would. Got to 7th and kind of just sort of stayed there, and with a bit of a gap between himself and Hodgie. But he'll keep going. This is his final race as well in GT7 for a couple of seasons, so I'm sure he'd like to finish on a high. Slowpoke in 8th, now starting to put some decent laps in. His last lap at 18 was a 2:21, so he's starting to push now. Fastest guy on track at the minute now is Scott with a 2:19.7, so Scott going for absolute maximum points. He not only wants the win, he wants the fastest lap as well. So Slowpoke doing his absolute utmost to catch up to the back of Harry Poppins, and you can see the gap we've got there. It is going to be around about 10 seconds, I think, at the minute between Slowpoke and Harry Poppins. Stealth is about the same distance from Slowpoke, around about 10 seconds, and then there is a massive gap between Rufus and Stealth. But the less said about that, the better, eh, Rufus? So back up to our race leader and Scott, and he has got a very healthy gap and has really started to pull away from Bloomfield. So Scott has got this race pretty much sewn up exactly how he wanted it to go. Bloomfield in second, looking good for a podium finish is Bloomfield with 3 laps to go, including this one. Kenny D, oh, Kenny's picked up a penalty, but that's not going to affect anything. He's still going to hold on to P3. Hoggy in 4th, doing everything he can to catch up, but he is on those hard tyres and maybe having to do a little bit of fuel saving. I'm not too sure. No, he should be okay. He should be okay. Hodgie in 5th. He's having a good old battle now with Brownie. So Hodgie managed to get the move done on Brownie and move himself up into 5th. Brownie into 6th. But Brownie's not giving this one up without a fight, is he? Harry Poppins is now catching up as Hodgie and Brownie are battling away for P5. That's allowed Harry Poppins to get a little bit closer. Slowpoke still doing his best to catch up to those guys ahead of him. Let's just have a look and see what this lap is as he comes across the start-finish line. A 2:21.3, so pretty much the same as his last lap actually, I think. So Slowpoke's starting to put in decent lap times, and he's thinking about catching up to the guys in front. Never going to get on the podium, but catching up would be great. Stealth down in 9th, he's thinking the same thing. He would just like to catch up to the car in front, and then we've got Rufus in no man's land down in 10th. So let's see if we can find a battle, and I think, to be fair, the battle is going to be between Hodgie and Brownie. They are the only two really that close on track. Oh, and Harry Poppins now creeping up as well. So Hodgie in 5th, Brownie in 6th. Oh, and he's got a penalty. He's got half a second. So Harry Poppins is going to push now and try and get a little bit closer to Brownie so that he can actually take P6 away from him. At the minute, I think he might just get away with it, Brownie. No, not now. Harry Poppins is right on top of him. So Harry Poppins is going to push. He needs to be right under the rear wing of Brownie when Brownie serves that penalty. So we'll go on board, shall we, with Harry Poppins as we come around turn 14 at campus. Oh, and Harry Poppins decided he wants to have a bit of a look now. Oh, let's just go back, shall we, and have a quick look at that again. Harry Poppins just can't be bothered to wait until Brownie serves that penalty. So as they come through turn 14, heading down the hill towards turn 15, there was a gap on the inside, and Harry Poppins decides he's going to go for it and gets the move done. Brownie has to concede that one. He left the gap there. So Harry Poppins has got every right to go for it, and Brownie, just to add to his woes, has to have the brakes applied for half a second. So now drops down to 7th, and a little, boy, he's dropped off the back of Harry Poppins, hasn't he, after that penalty. So Harry Poppins chasing after Hodgie. Hodgie currently sitting in 5th. We are on lap, well, we're just coming up to lap 21 now, so 2 laps to go. Across the line, Hodgie goes, Harry Poppins, Brownie, all start lap 21. Slowpoke still in 8th, and still quite a gap actually. It's probably down to about 7 seconds, something like that now. But it's still a big ask, isn't it, to catch up with 2 laps to go. Let's see what's happening up at the top. Scott still out in front by quite a margin now, so this race is his to lose. I can't see that happening. Bloomfield in 2nd, still looking good for that podium finish, and Kenny D just about holding on to 3rd. So the champagne will be split between the three of those guys, I am sure, unless something disastrous happens to Kenny D. I don't think Hoggy's going to catch him up. He is on the hard tyres, Kenny on the softs. Although they are looking a bit worn, there should be enough in them to take him to the end of the race. Now then, Harry Poppins has got by Hodgie. We missed it, didn't we? Let's just go back. Right, it was here. So as they come around turn one, then it was going up through a Rouge, and Harry Poppins right up the chuff of Hodgie onto Radion, and obviously this is where he gets it done on the Kemmel straight. Not a lot Hodgie can do about it. Harry Poppins picking up half a second though as he went through Radion, but gets the move done on Hodgie and gets into P5. But Hodgie is just going to stick with him because he knows when Harry Poppins serves that penalty, if Hodgie stays this close, he can actually get P5 back again. And again, Hodgie needs the points, doesn't he? So he does need to desperately stick with Harry Poppins. So we'll skip forward to somewhere where we left it last time. Harry Poppins just about to serve that penalty. Where is Hodgie? Oh, he's dropped off, hasn't he? Brownie behind, he's picked up another penalty. So Hodgie going to hold on to sixth then, with Brownie in seventh, Harry Poppins in fifth. Managed to open up a gap big enough between himself and Hodgie so that he wouldn't be affected after that penalty. Actually, it's quite a big gap, isn't it? Slowpoke, well, Slowpoke can actually see now Brownie and Hodgie up ahead as we come to the end of lap 21. There we are. So Slowpoke hit through the bus stop chicane across the start finish line, and he can actually see Hodgie and Brownie up ahead as they're going into La Source at turn one. So Slowpoke, can he catch up and make a couple of places up on the very last lap of this race? Let's just have a look and see where our race leader is, because we do like to see them cross the line, don't we? Well, he's just coming around Poulon now at turn 12 is Scott, so we'll keep an eye on that. Bloomfield still in second, Kenny D third. Then we've got Hoggy, Harry Poppins, Brownie in sixth now. Brownie's managed to get by Hodgie, so Brownie in sixth. Although the fuel light is flashing, he's going to have to be careful. Hodgie's also got the same thing, and Slowpoke with plenty of fuel, although the tyres looking a bit sorry for themselves, is actually gaining on the two guys up ahead. So around turn 9 then, heading down the hill towards turn 10. Wouldn't this be great if Slowpoke could catch up to the back of these two guys and actually get past? He seems to be gaining with every corner. We are going to try and come back to that. I'm going to have to stay with Scott as Scott comes around the bus stop chicane for the final time. He is going to take the win, a fantastic win as well. Well done to him. He's got the fastest lap as well, so maximum points for Scott. Bloomfield through Blanchimont up towards the bus stop chicane is going to take second. Well done to Bloomfield, good race. Actually led for a good part of this race, didn't he? Got his tactics right, and across the line he goes to take second. Kenny is going to clinch that final third podium spot. Welcome back, Kenny. Hoggy is going to take fourth as he crosses the line. Harry Poppins will be fifth as he crosses the line. Flash of the lights for his final race. Then we've got Brownie. Oh, now then, right, we're going to go back and have a look at this. Because I do remember this was quite a finish. You can see Brownie just ahead of Hodgie in sixth. Oh, now then, a bit of door bashing going on, still getting a bit touchy-feely. In the meantime, Slowpoke coming up quick. He's going to have a look at the inside of Hodgie. Managed to get to the inside, but Brownie defends this turn. Into the bus stop we go, hard on the brakes, oh, and Slowpoke just cannot get it done, but no overtaking anyway, guys, because the yellow flag is out, and you will end up getting points. Oh, it's Harry Poppins. It is, right, let's just go back and watch them across the line then. So, Harry Poppins doing donuts on the start-finish line to celebrate his final race, and that's Harry Poppins down across the line. Brownie in 6th, Hodgie 7th, Slowpoke 8th. Stealth will finally cross the line in 9th. With hardly any tyres left at the front at all, but Stealth manages to creep across the line in 9th, and then Rufus, well, he's run out of petrol as well, so really not been a great night for Rufus, has it? There was a big old mess up in the pit lane about changing tyres, so he had to make an extra pit stop. That put him even further back. Then he got a 3-second penalty coming out of the pit lane, and now he's run out of fuel, so we may have to go and fetch him. He's got quite a long way to go, but thank you very much for watching this season. If you've enjoyed these races, remember, please hit that like button, and if you've not subscribed already, if you could do so, it really would be helping me and the channel out if you could do that as well. Again, thank you to all of the guys who raced this season. I want to say a massive thanks to Mark, or Harry Poppins, for hosting, the guys that do the points, Alex who runs the league, and everybody involved. Actually, it's been a fantastic season, and we look forward to whatever comes next. So I'm going to leave it now. Rufus is just going to take another day or two to finish. We may even have to end up sending the RAC out to go and pick him up. I think it's going to be that late. Poor old Rufus. But thank you very much for watching. I shall catch you all very soon. What do we have coming up? We've got the Wednesday Super Formula coming up, so keep an eye out for that one, and the new Sunday season will be starting in a few weeks, so again, look out for that one. In the meantime, take care, and I shall catch you all soon.